I think we had a good off week. I think it gave us a chance to heal up. We were able to work our down-the-liners significantly this last week, which is going to be important as we go 11 straight from this point on, and give them some opportunities to build some depth. And so we'll find out. Everybody always asks, it was a great time in relation to open dates, and open dates in my mind have always been you don't ever know if they're good or bad until you play the next ball game. And so kind of anxious to see how we handle this week in practice, and obviously get an opponent this week that I think is going to be really focused on playing well in Alabama, and a team that's very, very talented.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder, members of the media, *1 to get in the queue to ask questions. Our first questions come from Randy with the Sunbelt Digital Network. Randy, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach Barry. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Just want to ask you, when looking back at Nicholls State, did you have a chance during the bye week to look back, and did you notice anything that previously that stood out to you?
Oh, I don't know that. I think we cleaned our game up significantly. I really challenged our players to come back with the mentality of playing a cleaner game than what we did against Georgia. Georgia was an outstanding opponent, but we didn't help ourselves out very much. We had some younger players in that game that didn't perform quite as well against Georgia. And I thought our first half against Nicholls played out about like I would have liked to have seen us play. I think we were functional, we were fundamental, we were doing our job rather than trying to do everybody else's job. And the first half played out like I wanted it to. And quite honestly, the second half did too, in the sense that we were able to basically play our down-the-liners the rest of the game. And that was something that's really important for us, because we just don't tend to have that many opportunities during the course of the season to play our down-the-line guys as much as we did in that ball game. And I think along those lines we were able to build off it this last week during the open day.
And I want to ask you about the bye week. In practice, specifically with Garrett Smith, did you work with him a lot with further his development through the week?
Absolutely. I think you're taking all of your younger players, not just your down-the-liners, but all your younger players, and you're trying to expose them to a few other looks maybe that that you're going to see throughout the course of the season. You're still working the fundamentals because they are still young players, trying to heighten their learning curve a little bit during that time frame. Now that they've kind of all got their the jitters out of them about playing their first collegiate games, I think they tend to have a little bit more confidence in their abilities to be able to do things, and so you try to continue to grow them up.
And finally, you're no stranger to playing at these SEC games, but against Alabama, what's kind of the keys going into that game?
Well, I think anytime that the younger players need to handle the environment. I don't really worry so much about our older players. As you mentioned, we've had a tendency here to play the top 10 every year, and so we've been in some venues along those lines. But the younger players, you never know exactly how they're going to kind of handle that environment. Obviously, we've had one now against Georgia, who was a good team. In obviously a difficult environment. So at least we have that underneath our belt. But you're always a little concerned about them. And, I think anytime that you're playing a team as talented as Alabama or Georgia or LSU or Texas A&M, or I can go right down the road with us, is that their abilities to create those explosion plays on both sides of the football. You have to find ways to try to limit those things, and most of the time it just kind of comes down to trying to stay in the game and limit those explosions to where you're functionally within reach in the second half, because you know that they're going to have some plays. They have some tremendous talent and more depth, and so they're going to be able to play more guys than we're able to in relation to trying to stay in the game, and that's how we've tried to do it in the past, and sometimes it's worked for us, and sometimes it hadn't worked as well.
Thank you, Coach Barry. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Coach. That's all the questions we have for today. We do appreciate your time.